Okay, so this part of the story, J and S have just moved out. We've got our new cellies moving in. Our new cellies are going to be J2 or JV, sorry, JV and AD. AD. So it's me, A2, AD, and JV. First, AD moves in. He's younger than me. He's a prison, not veteran, but he's been through. He's done some time. He knows the ropes. He's in it. He's a cool dude. He's not too bad. And then JV turned out to be quite a whirlwind. He's a cool dude though. JV moves in. He's on top, the bunk on top of mine, and AD moves on top of A2. A2 and we meet and greet and get a feel for them, and things are gonna be amicable. It's gonna be a good vibe in the cell. A2, he does dope. He does stuff. So does JV. So A2, or not A2, JV, AD does. So they all start vibing. AD and JV are white dudes. So 3 white dudes and a Mexican in the cell. It's a comfortable situation. So after a little while, some guy comes to visit JV and starts talking to him, and he says, "All right, bro, I know who you are. I understand things. Do you want to take over the cell house?" And JV goes, "No, I'm good on that. I'll take this pod, but no, I ain't doing the cell house right now. I'm just getting out of max. I'm just coming out of the hole. I ain't doing that right now." So JV turns out to be kind of big boss, big dog in the white crowd. And he's super cool. He doesn't demand anything when he comes into the cell. He comes in, he's very respectful. I really had I have a lot of respect for JV, the way he operated, the way he ran shit. He asked me, he's like, "Hey, you smoke?" I was like, "No, don't do dope or anything." He's like, all right, cool, I can respect that. And I started to be able to get some tobacco in. And cigarettes are outlawed are illegal in prison. They're not allowed anymore. So all that stuff on the TV from years ago, movies, that's not how it is. Cigarettes are contraband. You get in trouble for that shit. So tobacco is a commodity. He brings them in, and I'm a stoner by nature, so I know how to roll, and I roll blunts. And joints just weren't my thing, but blunts I like those. So I learned how to roll, and that another skill that I have, skill from the streets that carried over into prison. And so he asked me to roll a cigarette for him, and I rolled it, and he looked at it, and he's just like, "Holy shit, dude! Like this is nice." And I was like, okay." Prison cigarettes are that's a whole nother video. They're very, very, very skinny. So he was like, "All right, I'll dose it out, put the portion of tobacco, you make you roll it up, and then I'll toss you some, and we'll go from there." And he had his little hustle going on with that. Through the tobacco dealings, there was a gentleman that JV knew, having done so much time, came up, introduced himself. Now this man, I will say the name that he went by, because this man is ended up being one of the biggest factors in my prison stint, and I cannot thank that man enough. His name was Mateo. Now, when Mateo came up, being a Boy Scout, there's a organization called OA, and there's a storyline. I won't get too far into it, but the point of it being is that in that story, Mateo was the guide, and this guy came up, and out of nowhere, his name was Mateo, and I just took that as a sign from God of like, you need to trust this guy. JV's a cool dude, and he introduced you to him, and you need to trust Mateo. I rolled cigarettes for Mateo, and didn't really know who he was, and he was like, pretty good at fucking rolling. All right, cool, man. Mateo's a Mexican dude, and Mateo's the funniest fucking dude I've met in prison ever. He was just hiding jokes for days. He had just gotten a medium, and he had come out of the hole. He was in isolation for 10 years, and so he's a little paranoid. He's a little having to readjust and reacclimate, but he was getting back into the vibe of things, and there was a good little deal going on. And JV started getting into more stuff. He got a tattoo gun. He was able to hook Mateo up with a tattoo gun. We were holding on to it. It was Mateo got the tattoo gun, and JV held on to it for him, and they started using it. And tattooing in prison is a whole fucking that's a cool. It's not cool. It is cool. It's a interesting subject and way they do it. So JV had a tattoo gun, and I offered to do me some. So I was like, all right, cool. And the running price in prison for a tattoo is about your hand is about $50. So however you got to do it, Canteen, Cash App. My method of payment was Canteen and this thing called Fresh Favorites. And so we had this tattoo gun, and Jimmy was gonna do a tattoo, and Mateo was like, "Hey man, I really want to try doing it. I've never done it before." He wants to learn how to tattoo. So Mateo was like, "I want to learn how to tattoo," and I was just like, "There's your moment. All right, hey, yeah, man, Mateo, you want to do a tattoo? I'll do a tattoo. Yeah, you first time ever? I mean, you need somebody to try on, right? Yeah, go for me. Do it." I was like, "Get something small. I can get it covered up later or whatever." You got to take a risk. Got to start making friends in prison. You can stay alone, but you're still going to need to make connections. You're still going to have to do something, because it's too dangerous of a place to just do it 100% solely on your own. So you got to make connections and friends, or work the politics and work the game somehow. So I took a leap and let Mateo tattoo me. And he started tattooing, and he was doing just fine, but he started getting nervous and was like, "Man, I don't want to fuck it up, man. This is forever. This is permanent. I don't want to mess it up." I was like, "You're doing just fine, bro. This is cool. You're doing just fine." And he ended up stopping halfway through, and then Jimmy finished it up. JV, sorry, fuck. And JV finished it up, and then did the other side, and so that got done. And moving on a couple days later, out and about, and Mateo looks at me and goes, "Hey man, when you gonna pay me for that tattoo I did for you?" Just kind of joking, just kind of trying to get me to be, open up, trying to get me to be a part of the group. And I appreciated it. He really, like I said, that man helped me out in more ways than one. And he was joking, and I was just like, I had the money, so I was like, fuck it. I was like, yeah, cool, man. I'll buy you an ice cream. So I bought him you could buy pints of ice cream, and they'd be delivered every Friday with that Fresh Favorites deal. So I got 2 pints of ice cream, one for JV and one for Mateo, and did that. And then that turned into a whole thing of every Friday I just bought Mateo an ice cream, because he would come up to me, and he'd look at me like, "Ice cream?" And like just real gesturally, jokingly. And I was just kind of like, I liked it. He was from where I was. He was from where I was from. Actually, not even from where I was born. And I've never met anybody that was born in the same place that I, because I'm a military child. So it was very rare for me to find somebody that actually been born in the same city as me. And I found, and he had that connection to me. And it was Mateo. And so this dude I made a connection with, and he ended up becoming my ice cream buddy. And I just bought him ice cream every week, just for the hell of it, because I was like, I like this dude, he's my friend, so I'm gonna help him out. And we're moving along, and Mateo and JV and AD we're all doing stuff. JV had to take care of some business, because the wood rep that we had in our pod, he was a bad dope fiend, and he got into it bad with the blacks. And he owed a lot of money, so he got beat up a couple times. Jimmy had to give him a violation twice. He did it once in another cell, and then he did it in our cell one time. and I was sitting eating, watching TV, and Jimmy calls dude in, and dude is as soon as he walks in, he's like, oh man, I'm getting a violation, aren't I? And he's like, why do you say that? He's like, because the cell's like this. He's like, you know exactly why this shit is. You did this to your fucking self. And he proceeded to beat the living shit out of this dude. And I'm just sitting there watching TV the whole time. Before it even happened, Jimmy told me what was going to happen. And I was just like, do I need to get out of the cell so you guys know? He's like, nah, bro, you're fine. Just sit there and just be cool. And I was just kind of like, this is wild. And I would look over. I'd make sure that, he wasn't going to die or anything. Jimmy knocked a couple of dudes' teeth out, broke a couple of his ribs. He was bleeding all over the cell. And then after it was done, he was like, now clean up my fucking cell, put a towel over your head, get the fuck out. Dude did, cleaned up all the blood. He swallowed one of his own teeth, put a towel over his head, and then he walked out. And then Jimmy and the other dude that were in there, because it's never just a one-on-one thing. You always got someone spotting. It's a one-on-one fight. But if you try to run or it's a violation, then it's a very, very intrinsical gray area type deal. And Jimmy gave that violation out. He broke his hand. He had already broken it once, giving dude violation the first time, and he broke it again, or broke the other one doing it this time, punching dude in the fucking head. I looked over one time when it was happening, and I saw Jimmy punch him in the ribs, and you could see the knuckle imprint just stay in the dude's ribs, and Jimmy fucked this dude up. So moving through, and then after that happened, about 5-10 minutes passed, I was gonna go down to the ice machine and get Jimmy some ice for his hand so he could, start nursing that shit. I walked out, everybody knows what's going on, and then I look in the cell, and I walk out. Everyone's eyes just get so huge, so wide. And like, you were in there? I was just like, I was watching TV, man. Football's on. And they're like, fucking hell, what the hell is Eric's deal? Like, nobody could really get a beat on me. Nobody could figure me out. Like, I'm very withdrawn, very quiet, but I wasn't, like terrified like a little bitch or anything with this shit. It was just, you gotta go with what's going on. And we're going through, and so there was this dude I rode up from RDU with on the bus to Lansing, and he was there. He had been walking around with one of his friends. So so I knew him and his dude. I knew they were cool with each other. And that dude, not the one that I rode up with, but his friend, he was repping a certain group, and he was doing some gay shit, like some homo shit, which the group that he was with is that that shit don't fly no matter what. Even if you are gay, even if there's no homo shit for that group. So that had to go. So he had a hit put on him. He was greenlit. So he had to go. So the dude that I rode up with RDU with was given the task to do it. So I'm sitting on the phone one day, and Jimmy, JV, Mateo, and RDU dude go into my cell, and they're all talking. Then they call up other dude, and he comes up, and as he's coming to the cell, RDU dude comes out of my cell, and my cell's up on the top rung, and I'm sitting down on the lower level looking up at my cell, and I see this happen, and I see RDU dude come up to him, and they're kind of, a little weird interaction, and then all of a sudden RDU dude goes straight for the back of gay dude's neck, and what he had was a knife, but it was a pin with a Bic razor, the shaving razors, the disposable ones, and you take the razor blade off, and they had inserted that into the pin, so it was a straight line. It was a straight deal. It was made for slicing, but RDU dude, he used it as a stab. So if he had done it correctly, and gone for the throat or something, it would have been done. But it didn't happen. So gay dude then pulls out his banger, and then all of a sudden we've got a knife fight. I'm sitting on the phone. I'm like, hold on, Mom. We got two Mexicans trying to kill each other. This is just fucking normal everyday shit now, apparently. So we got two Mexicans standing off on the run, trying to stab each other and kill each other. And then RDU dude yells up, "Help me!" Jimmy comes out the cell and starts throwing hands with him. And gay dude's boyfriend comes running out of nowhere and comes up and gets on the run. And Jimmy just mollywops it. He's piecing this dude up and knocks him out. He's still standing on his feet. Like, you can knock someone out and they're still, you can see they've been rocked and they're still standing. And he did that once. Dude came to, and then did it again. Dude came to, and then finally Jimmy knocked him unconscious, and then dude dropped, and dude is sitting on the run with his arm hanging over the rail, like he's laying down, but his arm's kind of hanging over. And then you just see Jimmy just punting the back of dude's head, just punting it. And Jimmy's having a grand old fucking time, man. He's loving this shit. This is Jimmy's shit, bro. And Jimmy's fucking this dude up. Blood everywhere. And then and it turned into a whole deal. Another dude came into the picture and then come out of it. And so we lost Jimmy that day. And then doing some talking and everything else, I learned that Mateo is like number 2 in the prison on the Mexican side of shit. So I'd lost Jimmy as the connection, or as a cohort for that part, because they took him once you get in a fight. The shit that happened, they took him to max. He got put in the hole, and so I've got Mateo still. He's an ice cream buddy. He's cool. So now it's me, JV, or I'm sorry, me, AD, and A2, and we're now waiting on our next cellie, who's coming in, and this dude, he ends up knowing A2, and this is a fun chapter. Yeah, so